Okay, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's well. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're doing great. Talking about spiritual experiences in physical bodies. This is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big, big deal. Big, big, big deal. Because it's your whole life. It's how you see your whole life. So, sitting on the stage with Y.Y. Jacobson, he said it like straight. We're infinite consciousness having a physical experience. We're in this world for a reason, and whatever physical things are coming in from your way are really just ways that your soul is put on this earth to work through, whether it's personal or communal. He said it a little differently, but that's what I heard him say. Now think about your life that way. You're in this world for a reason, and your soul is navigating this physical universe, dealing with things physically, because you're adding something to the world, whether you realize it or not. You're rectifying something in your soul, you're rectifying something in the world, and you don't really know how to do that except for how you act with the things that are in front of you. Now, when you see yourself, if you can identify yourself as a soul, which means you are a piece of infinite light. And just think for a second that you are a piece of infinite light, or infinite energy. It's probably better. And around that energy is a congealed physical form to enable you to navigate the world. You're in a spacesuit. You're not the spacesuit. You're in the spacesuit. And you need the spacesuit because otherwise you couldn't breathe or interact or live in the world. But that's not who you are. You're not the uniform. I got this cup from my friend Rav Gav. Amazing guy. Amazing, powerful speaker and rabbi. Wake up and be awesome. I like that. Wake up and be awesome. Once you have this and you see it this way, you start to look at the world a drop differently. And that means that when you go through things, you're going through them with infinite energy, not with finite I can'ts. That means that the amount of strength that you have is beyond what you think you have. And the amount of potential you have is beyond what you think you have, because all you really have is all you're relying on now is your brain, and your brain only has history, right? Even your imagination is based on history, because all you have is neural connections, right? You showed up to this world with basically nothing but the ability to suck and cry, to live and to communicate, and everything after that was most likely just exposure that created neural connections. So your computer only has yesterday, which means you have zero ability to know what tomorrow is. You could draw two things together and predict, but you have no idea, right? As somebody, I saw this someone mentioned this the other day, as everyone's trying to predict the market now, as we're living in a crazy economic time of inflation and what's going to be with all the extra printing, quantitative easing, quantitative tightening, all the fun stuff. Not that I know anything. I'm just suggesting things that I'm reading and what's going on in the world today. And so I read one pundit who said, remember everybody, that some of the biggest things that have ever happened in the world, nobody predicted. Like, nobody predicted any of the major crashes 6 months before they happened. Nobody predicted COVID. Nobody, like, remember, what you're talking about here is a prediction which is based on the history of what I have, not a prediction based on knowing the future. And there's a very big difference between knowing the future and knowing the past and finding patterns and assuming that the patterns will continue, not knowing if it will or if it won't. So understand that when you have a recognition that you are a soul, that means you have to have the humility of, I don't really know what I can become. I have no way of knowing what I can become, because all I know is what I was. But I don't know the circumstances. I don't know what will be. And there's a lot of people in this world that'll tell you, a lot, that when they hit that wall in their lives, whether it was a sweet wall or a sour wall, Whether they got this big job that they didn't think they could do, or they got thrown this big curveball that they didn't think they could handle. There's a lot of people that will tell you, I had no idea I could have become when this hit. Because they didn't. Because they didn't have any experience with it before. There are a lot of people out there that are thrust into positions of power and responsibility before they're ready, and they grow into it, and they will tell you, I had no idea how to do it. But they're made of infinite abilities, so they can tap into more than their brain says that they can. And when you live your life based on knowing that thinking you know what you can and can't do, you're living your life repeating the past. And when you live your life with the understanding and the humility that which is before me is something that I can accomplish, because it wouldn't have come before me. I'm living in an infinite field. I'm living in an infinite playing ground. I'm not running, and I'm not even understanding. I didn't bring the thing to me, and I don't even understand if I could do it or not. I don't know. There's so few things I know in this world. And the two of the things I don't know in this world is why that thing came my way and if I can actually overcome it. I don't know either of those two things. Because I can't calculate the universe, and I can't even understand the depths of my own abilities. Once we have a drop of humility, we're free to actually try stuff and blow us away. We're free to actually be in this world with a positive perspective and push ourselves in ways we couldn't dream of. But you have to see the world through the prism of being an infinite piece of the divine, being infinite consciousness. You're conscious, not your consciousness, it's infinite consciousness. And in order to navigate this world, you have a body. In order to navigate this world, you have ways to talk. You have other people you interact with. You touch, you feel, you smell, you sense. But that's not who you are. That's how you navigate this incredible world that is really a spiritual world that is being played on the physical sense. You know what it's like? It's like your body is the characters in the video game. You need the video game characters to play each other. Right? You ever play like Wii? Remember Wii? My kids still have it. Remember Wii? So you're holding a controller in real life, and you're swinging it, and in the actual screen there's an avatar of a player swinging a bat. The players on the outside are actually manipulating the characters on the inside. But the characters on the inside aren't the players on the outside. And if you forget that, it's a big problem. You got to turn off. If that ever happens and you forget the difference, you got to like plug out the way and get back into go outside and take a walk. But that's life. We get lost in thinking that the body that I have is me. It's a character. It's an avatar that I wear to navigate this world. The person who is the thing that is actually swinging, if we're lucky, is our soul and not our brain. Which means I look at the world differently, which means that not only do I not know my capacity, I don't even know the level of depth of my connection to the infinite. And when God goes from becoming the provider of physical needs that I have to kiss up to a couple of times a year or a couple of times a day, depending on how much you kiss, you connect, versus the extent of myself, the place that I want to be, the reunification of my essence. Godliness is not trying to get stuff. Godliness is trying to uncover who I am. My interactions with spiritual things like prayer and rituals, they're not meant in order to kiss up to the king to give me more physical. It's meant to actually uncover the depth of my own soul. Once you begin to shift that perspective, you live an entirely different life. Okay, we'll talk about this. All right, everybody, have a great day. With God's help, I'll speak to you again tomorrow.
Living on a lifeline. The world doesn't ever seem to change. Looking for the sunshine, but you're caught up in the rain. It's like your eyes are wide open, but you cannot see. You're watching life pass you by like 1, 2, 3. Walking in destruction. The winds of life blur your vision. All the devastation. Forever feels like you're on the run. It's time. No one else can set you free. You're locked inside, and only you have got the key.